Nick Durant here, and today I'm going to talk about bagging your machine with some sandwich baggies. Now, this is important because your tattoo machine can have bloodborne pathogens on it, debris, particles, nasty stuff that you don't want to get on you or a client. Here is a big mistake that we all do. I've done it several times, probably will continue to do it, but I try not to, and that is we like to handle our tattoo machines without gloves on, because we go, hey, look how cool my tattoo machine is, and we just pick it up, and we like to work on them, so we just pick them up and start working on them. We should really try to make an effort, though, to, as much as possible, wear gloves when we touch our tattoo machines, because there could be dangers here that we don't see. Some of these materials that collect on your machine can have bloodborne pathogens like HIV or AIDS. It can have hepatitis C, hepatitis B, and that causes damage to your liver. You have MRSA, and you also have syphilis. Because there's things here on your tattoo machine, even though we clean the tattoo machine, there's little nooks and crannies. Unless you take your tattoo machine totally apart every time you use it, you're not going to get into all of these little spaces here. You want to be careful and not touch that as much as possible. You might think that your machine is clean, but even if there's dried contaminants on here, hepatitis can survive up to 7 days in dried blood. Because of that, we are going to don our gloves. Before we play with our machines, make sure we are nice and safe. Some people don't bag their machines because they don't believe that their machine is going to get contaminated. They think that the only place where you're going to touch the person and where there's going to be contaminants is where your hands are and where the tube is at. But things can travel up the tube and get on your tattoo machine, and while you're working, you can set your tattoo machine down and then move it and make contact with it with your hands. After your hands have been touching blood, you can get all kinds of contaminants on your tattoo machine just while it's here at the station. So I would suggest that you bag your machine every time. Now, some of the complaints are that once the machine is bagged, you can't make your adjustments properly, and that the machine, sometimes this happens, likes to get stuck in between your spring and your contact screw. From what I've seen in a lot of the YouTube videos, they make bagging your machine super complicated. So I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to bag your machine. And then I'm going to show you another way to bag your machine, which is a little more complicated, but it's designed to keep contaminants from getting on your machine better than the first way. But either way you do it, it is still better than not covering your machine. And I've read reports, there's a report out there where they did a test on tattoo machines to see how much contaminants were on the machines before they tattooed somebody and after they tattooed somebody. And in both cases, there was contaminants on the machine, but in the case where the machine was bagged, there was less contaminants. I'm going to show you the first way to bag your machine. Now this way is simple. You just want to set up your machine and get it running. Do everything you need to do so that your tattoo machine will run properly, and set it up. Once you have your machine set up, you're going to take your baggie and you have the opened end on the bottom. And you just want to make a slit in either side of the bag. Just a really small cut. So you need some scissors. I'm going to make a small incision there. And that is all that is. Then I'm going to take my tattoo machine and insert it into the baggie, like so. Now I'm going to take the fold and I'm going to wrap it around the tube here. Just a little bit, but I'm going to go straight up with this fold, and you can see when I go up that it wraps around the tube. So I'm just going straight up, and by doing that it closes that up. So the only thing that will be contaminated is your disposable tube and grip, which you're gonna get rid of. So once you pull that flap up and over your machine, I like to take a little piece of tape doesn't need much, and then tape that to your bag. Now you can see that just by doing this, my machine is pretty well protected. If you want to take the extra measure, you could always put some tape around here. But this works pretty good, so I usually just put the piece of tape right there, and you can also write what type of needle you have on the tape. After you baggie your clip cord, which I might as well just show you a quick way to baggie this, is take your clip cord, squeeze it together, put it into your sandwich baggie, into the corner, and once it is in the corner, release your clip cord, hold the baggie a little bit, and pull your clip cord through. Once you release it, it'll usually break the bag itself, and then you have the front of your clip cord bag. You find your little slit in the baggie here, and then you're going to take your clip cord, push it together, stick it through that slit, and connect it to your machine, making sure that the plastic is not interfering with your connection, like so. And if you don't have a clip cord cover, you can wrap saran wrap on the rest of your cord, and that's ready to go. If you need to make adjustments to your machine, that's fine. I can adjust my machine like this. I can, through the baggie, see if you put on something that's easy to grab a hold of, I can adjust my tube, tighten that back up. Through the bag, I can adjust my contact screw, loosen this up, adjust my contact screw, tighten it back up. Through the bag, if the bag gets caught, I can pull the bag out. I really don't have any problems with my machines when I use this method. This bag has my machine contained except for this little hole in the back and your tube. Now the problem with this system is that if material travels up into the tube, it is actually locked inside with the tattoo machine. Now let me show you how that works. You get some blood, some contamination inside your tube, or ink. Your machine is safely bagged and material travels into your bag through the tube. So this is to give you a visual. This would be on a much smaller scale that you probably wouldn't even see. But this is still better than using no bag at all. So let me grab another sandwich bag here, and I'm going to show you the second method. I didn't come up with this method. This was on YouTube already, but it was a little difficult to see what was going on, so I'm just going to try to do this but give you a clear visual on how to do it. With this method, you want to set up your machine, but don't attach your needle to your armature bar. Just kind of put your tube in there and get it ready to go. Now, in this case, the opening is going to be to the side, and so I'm going to cut this little corner off of the bag here. Not too big, just take a little bit off, because you can always stretch it out as you're putting it on the machine. Now, a little ways up, maybe between halfway and a quarter, on the same area where you cut that corner off, make a small incision. So here's the bag, take off the corner and make a little cut right above where you took off the corner. Be careful because you don't have your needle attached, you have it hanging out here, and don't want baggie to catch onto this and get plastic stuck into your needle. So maybe just pull that back a little bit for this part, just to take it easier on yourself. Stick it through the bag to the corner and then pull the bag over your tube and grit. At this point, you clear the bag so you can let your needle go back down and stay out of your way. So you're going to pull the bag up over your tube and vise and up and over your needle bar, all in that same hole. And pull your bag over your machine like that. Now you have your tube and your vise exposed, and you have the opening of this tube exposed. So you want to pull your bag behind the tube here. And then you're going to find the little hole we put in here earlier, and we're going to put the needle bar back into the bag and onto our armature bar. So this way you can see that the end of the tube is not bagged. It is open to the elements. And so is your vise or tube and your grit. So you're going to take some tape and close this up down here. And with this method, your clip cord will just go through the opening in the back and attach it to your machine. And you can stick your hand through this way or open up the bag and then make any adjustments that you need to your machine to get it running correctly, and then pull the bag back over and you can see it's protected now. The only thing left to do is to put some barrier protection on your tube and vise, or just leave it like that. And in either way you can still clean this and it's still protected up here. That's a lot better than having no bag at all on your machine. So let me show you the advantage to this method. You're tattooing, you have some blood and ink in your tube. It's in your tip. You're working on somebody, and there it is. There's some blood. It's going up into your tube. Now, because, see, even by touching it, I would have just put material on my tattoo machine because it's on my gloves. But what happens this way, if you have backflow into your tube, it's not going to affect your machine. It's not going into your machine. It's just going to go on the outside of the bag, or it's going to land somewhere else. Which this is another reason why I'm not a big fan of cleaning your tube and tip with a spray bottle, because you spray in there and you get who knows what that's going to shoot all over you, all over your client, and all over your station.